Hello?
Hello, Neil.
Hi.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, yeah.
Okay, hi, it's Erica from Lorem. So, Neil, well, I have read and heard a lot about you, and well,
Okay.
I have many questions, but I know maybe I would like to ask you something before I ask you something.
Before a
Yeah.
question.
Yeah, that
Okay.
was weird. But could you please explain me something about your project? Because you have so many. So just tell me something
Okay,
about
well, my
you.
main
Yeah, just
project for the last 10
say
years,
something about your project.
my main project for the last 10 years has been Tronik Youth, but I'm one of those people that likes a lot of different types of music. So I'm always kind of like, oh, no, I'd like to try a bit of this, or I'd like to try a bit of that. Same when I DJ, I don't just play like one straight dead style. I'll start slow and build and end with something maybe a little faster or disco. And the same for making music. But the main one has been Tronik Youth. I've released an album last year, numerous singles, probably like nearly 10 years. 2007 I released the first single. And it's kind of mutated from kind of like sort of electro stuff into kind of a bit more new disco, and now it's kind of like sort of more slower techno kind of sound. Really.
Okay.
So yeah, that's the main project.
Okay. And what about the others?
The other projects I have are my other main project at the moment is a band called Permanent Wave, which I record with half and half with Justine, who's on my label,
Yeah.
who's a French female producer artist. It's kind of like a sort of darker electronic, sort of gothy, cold wave kind of techno thing. So we've done a couple of singles. We had a single on my label last year, which got really, really surprisingly. I thought everyone would be like, well, it seems a bit odd or strange, and people really liked it. So we have two more singles this year signed to other labels. And then in the summer, I'm going to be in Berlin recording an album which will be all new stuff, all new material. So that'll be recorded in the summer, and then we'll probably do a tour in the winter, like around Europe, Spain, Italy, Germany, and stuff. Because that's for me. I don't really do live stuff. I only DJ, so it's exciting to be able to play live and do something else different. You know, see how that works. And Justine is a great performer, so it's good for me to have somebody up front. So I'm like the guy in the Pet Shop Boys with the keyboards at the back, just hiding in the hat.
I saw something on the internet. Well, I think there is one or two videos about a show you had in London, I think.
Yeah, we did a show in Manchester with Yvonne Smart and CAR. We did a show together. That was our first debut show.
Okay, well, I really enjoyed it. Well, that kind of project, the Permanent Wave, I really liked it. Well, I think...
Yeah, that's... Sorry.
No, tell me.
That for me, it's something different because everything I do normally with remixing or DJ, it's very dance floor oriented. I have to make sure, will this work on a dance floor? With the Permanent Wave stuff, that is not the forethought. Is this interesting? Does this create an atmosphere, or does this create a feeling, rather than does the beat kick and all this stuff? So it's a lot more interesting for me to not have to worry about, you know, those things of it's a bass line that's going to get people dancing and stuff. So it's a different kind of discipline.
And you share the stage with another person, which is totally different, I think.
Yeah, well, we work together. We work together very well. I mean, live's good. You know, we just work. I've worked with people before, and their ideas may be stronger, or my ideas. We're so equal when we work. You know, one of us will do some beats, one of us will do some lyrics. Some of the songs I've written, the lyrics. Some of the songs she's written, the lyrics. It's a massive democracy. Some bands I know, artists, the guy will do all the music, and the girl just turns up and sings. It's, you know, she writes as more probably than I do for the band. Yeah. So between us, it really feels like a joint project, not just me employing a girl or she just getting me to do drums for her. So it's a good feeling to work as a team.
Yeah, but there is something I have to say. I found that there is just like a theme that really connects all your projects, and it is that dark sound that you have.
Yeah, I guess so. I think as a child, teenager, I was always drawn to stuff like the darker elements. It's just not. I mean, I love pop music. You know, I grew up. I was a massive fan of pop and, you know, Pet Shop Boys and things. But there's always a sort of slightly darker, bit more. I suppose the night. You know, the night time, and that's why I'm attracted to nightclubs and, you know, all those bands. They always had a little bit of an edge to them. Even like, you know, the bands that became mainstream Depeche Mode, the Smiths. There was always a darkness to them, you know, like a thing that was like not really mentioned, or they didn't really describe it. But if you knew what they were talking about, there was an element of darkness, and there was an element of,
course,
another world, a mystical world. And I think that probably has influenced me, and that's at the core of everything I do, really. I mean, there's lots of melodies and stuff like that, but there always has to be that little edgier, sort of dark element, definitely.
But they're really present in your works, I think, and I really like that because I'm a really fan of post-punk, new wave, so I really appreciate that dark sounds and the dark waves in your production. Yeah.
Well, there's plenty more of that to come.
Yeah. And
especially moving to Berlin, there'll be even more, I imagine.
What do you say?
I said, especially moving to Berlin.
Oh yeah, well, Berlin, that's heaven for something like that. Well, I lived there for almost 2 years, and it was a really good time, I think. Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to it.
But you liked and you enjoyed Berlin to work on, imagine.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've been going back and forwards every month for the last probably year.
Oh, okay.
And I know already that it's
almost a Berliner.
Yeah. I mean, last time we went, sort of like I stopped looking at the tube map and things like that, and I kind of know where the best food places are, so it's good. And it's definitely an influence. My friend told me, when you move here, you'll make darker music, you'll make more techno things, and I was like, no. I mean, 6 months, I was like, I have another project now, which is like a techno thing. So already I can see it's had an influence.
Okay, so here's the question: what do you think about Berghain?
I call it the church.
Okay.
I was there this weekend for about 30 hours, so yeah, I like it.
Okay. Yeah, it's quite a strange place, but I really liked it.
I think it's one of the things that I think a lot of friends, I've taken friends before, and they're like, oh, okay. I think you have to go with an open mind. For me, what I love about it is
that's the basis. An open mind for Berlin and for Berghain.
Well, it's just the freedom as well. It's like, if you're in there, normally in a club, if you think, I'm going to do whatever I want to do, the bouncers or security or somebody else would say, hey, you can't do this. You can do whatever you want. It's the freedom element. It's so nice. It just feels like, it almost feels like another world. It doesn't feel like the normal 9-to-5 day world that we live in. It feels like another world.
Yeah, it's whether like a parallel world.
Whether that's heaven or hell, I don't know, but it feels like another world.
A wonderland. Everything is possible. And the Panorama Bar is also a cool place.
Oh yeah, so good. I saw Black Madonna on Sunday. She played for like 9 hours. It was so good.
Yeah, that's really good. But now, tell me something about your last release with featuring Justin. Always watching.
Well, that was kind of the pre to Permanent Wave. Basically, I had her on the label. She'd worked with Tim Heretic and a few other people, and I needed a girl, I wanted a French accent on a record. A friend of mine in France was like, oh yeah, I have a friend. And then I suddenly realised, why don't I not ask Justine? She's on my label. I should ask her to do it. So I asked her to do it. I wrote some lyrics, and she spoke a little bit. And then I then sort of got talking to her quite a bit and was like, well, hey, we should do something together. I often have these conversations with other musicians. We should do something together. And I mean, you never do. You never get around to it. So she sent me some demos. I sent her some demos. And that was kind of left in the open air. And then I spoke to a friend of mine who had the show, and he was like, oh, we're doing a show with CAR and Mazan. You should play live. And we were like, we don't have any songs. So within 6 weeks, we wrote 6 songs for the show. And suddenly we had a band. We're like, okay, we'll do the band. So the new single that's on Tici Taci, that really came out of that, that sort of spawned the band, really, Permanent Wave. Because if I hadn't asked her to do the single, she probably then wouldn't have done the second project. So we have that single to thank for it all.
But are you going to have new lives and new performances in the next days or in the next months? Or
what, for Tronik Youth or for the Permanent Wave?
For Permanent Wave.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, we have 2 new singles coming out. We have a single coming in, I think it's going to be in the summer, May time, which is on 2 new tracks with Play Pal. I think we've got Eva Lane and Thomas Jackson doing a remix. And then we have another release on in a French label in August with some great remix people, and then we'll have our album will be the end of the year. So we'll definitely do a big live show. We'll have by that point, we'll have about 15, 20 tracks to choose from.
Okay.
So it'll be a good show, hopefully. So yeah, that's the plan.
Okay, so you have a lot of work now.
Yeah, lots of work to do.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to record the album in the summer in Berlin, so that's the plan.
But where are you recording in Berlin?
Well, I have a home studio, and Justine has a home studio too.
Okay.
So we usually do it there. I mean, these days, home equipment is so good, you don't really need a proper studio anymore. You know, I remember years ago you could tell, but now you just can't tell. So we'll probably record most of it in Berlin. I have a friend who plays a little bit of sort of like nice guitar, so we might come record some extra parts. But that's the plan, yeah, that's the plan.
Okay. And what about the recording of Youth is Wasted on Young? You did it in your home studio, didn't you?
Yeah, mainly. Yeah, it was nearly all my home studio. A few bits at some friends' studios that I couldn't, achieve myself. Like for some little live drum sounds and stuff. But yeah, pretty much. I mean, that was like over 2 years. I did two tracks over about 18 months, and then the rest of the tracks were done in literally like 8 weeks. So I decided, I need to get this done, and we'd have a big a board on the wall, like a whiteboard you have at school. And it was like, this week, this track, this week, this track. And just work through it like that, because otherwise you're a home studio, you spend forever, you're like, I'll just change it tomorrow, and it never gets finished. So my plan was like,
of course.
I had a release date, and I was like, yeah, of course, you never finished. So I had a release date, and I was like, right, it has to be done by this day. And then I finished the album, and was like, hooray, and realised that I was one track short. So I had to record a track in one afternoon. A whole new track sit down and record a whole new track from nothing in like 4 hours.
But are you the kind of artist that I don't know, does something like a track and the next day says, oh my god, what I've done, that's creepy?
Sometimes, but generally I tend to sort of start tracks, have an idea of what I'm aiming for, because I know some people just sit with a keyboard and just mess around. I usually sit down and go, okay, I want to make a slow, dark techno thing, or I want to make something that sounds like, an 80s, punk thing, or, and have that idea. And then usually it ends up being very different, but I'm usually quite happy with it. Very rarely I come back the next day and think, oh, that's dreadful. What was I, I must have been crazy. Was I drunk,
Okay. But where do your ideas come from? Is it like, I don't know, many people dream about what they want to play or what they want to draw?
This is going to sound really weird and odd, and that thing of all doing is say, my best ideas usually come from when I'm in clubs. I'm in a club and I hear a record, or it's things like Panorama or Berghain. I've been out for like a day or 2 days and I'm hallucinating a little bit. And I hear like a record and I think, oh, that's a good record. But imagine if that record sounded more like this, or it was that record but it had this sound. So I'm very inspired by other people's music, but not, like I don't go home and just copy the record.
Yeah, of
but
course,
it's an inspiration to me. It's an inspiration to me. So I hear other things, or I hear a record, an old disco record, and I think, oh, imagine someone made a modern sort of style of that record. So it's usually that. I usually have an idea of like, oh, I want to make it a record with this feeling, or this sort of, the darkness of this record, but with maybe a more interesting keyboard or a more interesting drums and stuff. And that's usually how it starts. But if I played the finished record to the original artist with the original song, they wouldn't recognise it. They wouldn't say like, oh, this is like mine. It's like a cover version. It always ends up being 100% different. That's the thing.
Yes, of course, because it's yours. In somehow it will be yours.
I've done things where I've tried to make a record that doesn't sound completely the same. I would play it to somebody and they would say, well, that's not you. But you just can't do it. It always seems to have little things that you do, or little patterns, or little things, and I think everyone has a sound, which is a good thing, I guess, because it's what people recognise. But it's very hard to sit down and make a completely different thing.
Because you do it in your own way.
Yeah, it's like a signature, I guess. Your handwriting, it's always, you can try and disguise it, but there's things that come out in that handwriting or in that signature.
Yeah. And tell me, you are coming to Bologna, aren't you?
I am, yes. I'm coming on the 19th.
Okay. Yeah. And are you happy about it, or?
Oh yeah, I'm very happy about it. I'm not just saying this, other than Berlin, obviously. Italy's my favourite country in Europe by a mile, and I haven't been for a few years. And I've never been to Bologna. I've been to Florence, I've been to Milan, I've been to Naples quite a few times. but I've never been, so I'm very excited.
So it's a new place for you to say.
It is a new place, it is. I was in Berlin on Saturday and I met somebody from Bologna and I said, oh, I'm coming. They went, what? Nobody ever comes to Bologna. And I was like, I'm coming in a few weeks. They were very shocked, so that's good. It's a good reaction. I think hopefully people will be excited to come and hear some music and, dance.
Yeah, I hope you will enjoy it. Well, I want to remember for the people that are hearing to us that you will play in Bologna at a space Oz, Bunker Oz, on the 19th of March.
Yeah.
And the question is, what are you going to play?
Probably a bit of everything. So, I usually kind of start off with the sort of slower things from the label and then build up, and towards the end I play sort of like, I usually start sort of 100 BPM, slowish for a half an hour maybe, and then build and build and build. My original kind of always my inspiration from day one, probably the last 20 years, has been an Italian DJ called Daniele Bardelli, who started the Cosmic kind of thing. And he would always play slow and then build to like faster records at the end. And it's always been my style, because sometimes in a nightclub it gets a bit crazy or it gets a bit, manic, and it's good to sort of reset the pace and say, okay, let's go again. So then towards the end I tend to play more kind of like darker, bleepy kind of electronic, some kind of techno things, some kind of like darker, housey things. Okay. So it's a good variety, some little few disco edit things, so it's a variety. You've got a lot of stuff from the record label, a lot of stuff from friends from the record label, so there'll be lots of new things that people haven't heard, and maybe some things they know in a different kind of style. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And I've been playing a lot in Berlin, so I've had a lot of practice of playing long sets as well. So.
That's good, because I'll be...
For some reason in the UK, we only ever play like an hour and a half, 2 hours, which is too short for me. I like to play a long set.
Because you get a new feeling, I think. Most of the times you need time to enter the stage and to get that flow with people and with the crowd.
Yeah. It feels like if you play an hour and a half, it feels like you're sort of playing like a greatest hit set. It's like all the big records and then you leave. It's too short, whereas with a sort of 2.5, 3 hour, 4 hour, you can spread out, you can try some different styles, you can go in a different direction, come back again. You have that time to move around a little bit more and judge the crowd, are the crowd...
Of course, yes.
Should I go to another direction? It's very important to DJ to watch the crowd as well.
Well, I hope to hear many of your dark sounds and dark sounds.
Good, you will.
Because I'll be there, I will enjoy it.
Oh, good. Great, well, come say hi.
Yeah, of course I do.
Good.
Okay. Well, I would say I would have so many questions, because I know you also have the Nein Records based in the UK and that radio show on Cowbell. So there are so many things. Would you tell me, I don't know, then I won't steal your time, but the last thing about Nein Records, please tell me something about that.
Yeah, sure. I basically started making a lot of my own productions, and I was getting to the point where it was too many to try to give to other people or friends, and I decided I'm going to start a label, just mainly for me and a few friends. Mm-hmm. And then I kept getting sent so much good music that I was I want to put this out. So me and a friend started a label together, and kind of like he was kind of doing the finance stuff, I do the kind of the A&R and the releases and the remix schedule and stuff like that. And it's become a bit of a monster because it does take up a lot of my day. I mean, pretty much all day today is organising remixes, uploading music to iTunes, Beatport. And so it's a lot of work, because we release a lot of music. A lot of labels will release maybe 5, 10 singles a year. We've been going properly for about a year and a half, maybe, almost 18 months, and we've released like nearly 70 singles. So it's a lot of records. And each one of those records has 2 or 3 remixes, so there's a lot of material. But I absolutely love it. I wake up in the morning, the first thing I think about music. When I go to sleep, the last thing I think about is music. So for me, I don't even see it as a job. It's it's a joy to wake up every day and get given new music and be able to get artists that have not had a release before. That's the most exciting thing for me, is to find a new person, some boy from Mexico, or 2 kids from New York, or 2 kids from, we've got people from Spain, we've got people from China. We've got guys from Japan releasing the record with us. It's just really exciting to have this big community where everyone, just sends you their tracks, and if they're good enough, I'll put them out. I'm not like you're not famous, or I don't know you. It's for me, it's the quality of the music.
Of course,
if the music is good enough, and it matches the label.
Yeah.
that's all that really counts, you know. So
Yeah,
it's been great. I've met lots of people, you know, lots of new friends and lots of new collaborators. I'm doing some more projects next year with different people. So yeah, it's been good fun. It's been good fun.
Yeah, you like to do music. You like to spread music from, I would say, from all over the world and in
Oh yeah,
well,
definitely,
all over
definitely.
the world, you know, but both ways.
Definitely. That's the thing about music. It's an international language. There's no barriers, you know. People don't go on the dance floor and say, oh, this drum beat sounds like it's from China. I'm not going to dance to it. People, if you hear good music, they don't care where it comes from, you know.
Yeah,
That's
well,
the thing. It's a global language.
I completely understand what you're saying, because I work with the other boy of Lorem, which is also, I would say, yeah, a music curator. I don't know a word for that, because he really likes to spread music, and we do that with our with the web radio and with the radio of hand, which is Lorem on registrare, capo. So yeah, it's really good thing. It's really lots of fun.
I do the radio show every 2 weeks as well, and that's the same. You know, every week, 2 weeks, I'm sort of thinking. Every time I get sent a good piece of music, I'm like, oh yeah, I'll put that in the show, or I'll put this. You know, we have a guest mix as well every week as well, so that's exciting to hear what people on the label or friends of the label are going to do, and what they will use as well. So yeah, it's an exciting adventure. I don't know where we're going to go. I don't know how it's going to end, or what it's going to turn into. I don't think we're going to be the next EMI, but we'll have fun while it lasts.
Yeah, it's really good, I think, to spread this kind of this kind of movement. I think it's a movement.
It does feel like something new. I mean, realistically, we've had techno, we've had house, we've had, you know, drum and bass for like 25 years now. Nothing has changed, you know. Yeah, sometimes I go to like a big festival and there'll be big DJs on, and I think I could have heard this set 15 years ago. So this kind of slower techno mixed with kind of EDM and dark, it does feel like something a little bit different, you know. We've not heard this exact style before, which is good, you know, and I hope it does seem to spread. I remember 2-3 years ago, you know, I very rarely ever heard anything, and we would struggle to play records. We'd have to slow things down to, you know, get this sound. And now I'm getting people from Mexico, people from Spain, people from Japan sending me similar styles that they've made, because they've obviously heard other labels and were choosing it. So, you know, it takes a while. These things take time, but, you know, I feel like there's definitely a movement. There's definitely something happening.
That's a great thing, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. Well, I thank you for the interview and for the conversation. I hope to see you on the 19th.
Yes, we can carry it on in face to face, hopefully.
Yeah, that would be great. Really.
Cool. Okay.
So,
okay.
Neil, thank you very much. And
my pleasure.
I would say see you soon at Zoo, Oz.
I will.
Bunker Oz.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Thanks
a lot.